Greetings, Starjacks. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to a new series of RimWorld Odyssey named The Voidborn. If you would like to skip this series overview or the details about this series, please use YouTube chapters. We're the Voidborn Starjacks, hoping to build a new home up in the stars. We have a basic grav ship, and we're hopping from one salvage site to the next, trying to gather resources to build a new home. This salvage site, well, it's a bit different. Because the moment we got here, the relay crackled back to life and started broadcasting our location. I think we just woke up the Mech Hive and they're coming. The only way to stop them is to bring the fight to them. But we're a long way off from being able to accomplish that. So for now, we run. This is using the new grav ship scenario, where you start in orbit with a grav ship and 3 crew members. I am playing on Phoebe Chillax, Losing is Fun. It's actually one of the only times I've ever used Phoebe, but the reason is my other 2 Odyssey series, one is using Cassandra and the other one's using Randy, so I figured why not just round out the storytellers and use the one I never use, which is Phoebe Chillax, but it is set on Losing is Fun, so, you know, she wants to kill me. It's default world settings, and as far as factions go, there is no royal faction, but I am using royalty. The rules are pretty straightforward. Members must be Starjacks. Members must have our ideology, and we don't control mechs. Mechs are our enemy, not our friends, so no mech control. The goals is to create a safe haven on an asteroid as a permanent base, improve the grav ship so, you know, it can survive all the things we're about to do with it, and defeat the Mech Hive. Kind of a tall order, but there it is. The DLCs is Odyssey, Biotech, Ideology, and Royalty, and as I just mentioned, Royalty is enabled, the Royal Faction is not. And mods is the typical Fahrenheit and Celsius and no time change sounds. And this is our ideology. Very, very basic. It's just the basic shipborne, more or less. Not a lot of bells and whistles there. And we do share this ideology with the Traders Guild. As far as starting characters go, we've got 3, all of them Starjacks. So before I even go into the starting characters, this is what a Starjack is. It is a new race that is enabled when you have both Biotech and Odyssey on. They are cold resistant, they are heat tolerant, they are vacuum resistant by 45%, they have weak melee damage, they're always bald, sounds familiar? They've got facial ridges, sheer white skin, indoor dweller, which means they don't have an outdoor need. They don't need to be outdoors. In fact, they don't like to be outdoors. It bothers them. So it's the opposite of an outdoor need. They have poor melee, great construction, which also adds 1 level of passion. Awful mining, which removes all passions in mining, awful plants, and awful animals. They have a metabolic efficiency of +1, which means they eat slightly less than average. That is a Starjack. As far as Starjack faction members go, if you mouse over the factions here, you can see like the Civil Outlander Union is 2.5% Starjack, and this is all default, by the way. You know, what else? We've got the Waster Pirates do not have Starjacks. And then the Spacers Guild are made of 25% Starjacks. For starting characters, we have got Icy. Icy is a bloodlust jogging steadfast Starjack, incapable of animal tending, even though it looks enabled, which is a little weird. A junkyard mechanic bounty hunter. Rylus, who is super immune, quick sleeper ascetic, and he's our brainy boy, so he's our technician. And then Lisk. Lisk is the elder of the group, 23, 25, and 46, and he's too smart and fast learner, so the dude's brilliant. And he's taken it upon himself to take up the tasks that others are really incapable of doing, like mining and plants, but he also has a burning passion in crafting and social. The starting map tile we've got here is the starting map tile that pretty much all grav ships will have, which is you're up in space. So here's the planet that we have. It's 100% planet, but here's the planet that we have. And we're up in space at a Mechanoid relay that just came online and is now broadcasting our location which will absolutely 100% get us killed if we stick around too long. So what we need to do is we need to grab everything here and then run. So that's why my current priority is run. Before I do that, let's go ahead and set up weapons. So we have some weapons, not that I'm going to fight the mechs, because like that's honestly a really terrible idea. And then we're just going to want to grab all of the steel and the gravelite panels that we can. Gravelite panels being more important than steel. And then get going. And this is our basic ship. It's a junker, but it's our junker. And it will have to do. Now, it's worth noting that in the scenario, the grav ship, and this is completely unedited, you are also going to be regularly pursued by the mech hive. They're hunting you and will eventually find you wherever you go. Meaning they never stop. They're always hunting. That's important to note because that also means that this series is semi-nomadic. Because if we stay in any one place, the mech hive catches up with us and makes us regret everything. What happened to my music? I swear the music is a lot softer than normal. There's also a little bit of silver here. We don't really have time to haul the chunks and break down the Mechanoid processors. If you're wondering about the Mechanoid processors, I can get one of them to show you, because I do have a breach axe. But as you can see, it's a rather chunky thing to destroy. And here we go. The mech hive scanning process is close to determining your location. When it locates your grav ship, it will send a massive mechanoid force to kill you. Gather supplies, flee the map, select the pilot console, and select launch. So basically, stick around at your own risk, which I am absolutely not going to be doing because, well, you know, nothing like a marathon that ends in 2 minutes. Let's not have that. Is music softer because I'm in space? I mean, it could be. I might have to adjust the music again. We'll see. But we are almost done with grabbing all the gravelite panels. And that's the really important stuff because, like steel, you can kind of get everywhere. So here, as you can see, the mech processors are just a bunch of slag. They're not anything special. They're very missable. And the same is true of the mech slag chunks. So I'm focusing specifically on gravelite panels, and there's really only one arm load left to do. We have 10 hours until the mech threat, and then I'm probably going to select a POI that looks interesting down below on the planet's surface to go to. So if we zoom in on the planet, if you click this icon here, it will show you the POIs. These are points of interest. This is not necessarily terrain modifiers, though. So for instance, this is a plateau, this is hollow caves, this has a sparrow habitat wetland, and the thing like sparrow habitat wouldn't have shown up otherwise. So sometimes I still will, you'll find me like clicking around to look for like increased life or something like that, we'll see. But once we launch, we'll have an idea of what our range is for fleeing. If I'm not mistaken, this is the last steel, and then there's really only silver left, and we can be out of here. Now, this ship is not really space ready. Luckily, we're wearing suits. If we weren't wearing suits, we'd be dead by now. The Starjacks do, because of their natural vacuum resistance, they do have an interesting ability, which is that they don't actually really need to wear the armor. They can just wear the helmet. The helmet plus the natural resistance is enough to not get killed up in space, which means I am absolutely going to take off the armor because the armor has like massive speed penalties. It slows you down incredibly. And I could have hauled all that stuff a lot faster had I just like stripped off the armor first. All right, at this point, there's really no good reason for me to leave the ship again. I don't really care about scooping up slag. So we'll just go ahead and ditch the armor and then launch. So here in the assignments, I'm going to change the policies a little bit. This policy is going to be 51% plus, so we avoid tattered, and no longer wearing vac suits. What about the obelisk in the center? It's immortal. It has no HP. You can't do anything about it. That's actually why we have to run. We woke that thing up and pissed it off, and we got to launch. So here we go. We've got crew count, small thrusters, piloting ability, and we are good to take off. And obviously there's no other points of interest within space, within range. And it looks like we're somewhat close to the North Pole, meaning that it's going to be an advantage unless we want to be cold constantly to work our way south. You know, head southbound so that we're not further up into the tundra. Because in order to keep the ship fueled, we're going to need chem fuel, and chem fuel is most easily obtained through butchering animals because Starjacks absolutely, positively suck at plant harvesting. They cannot do it. They have a -8 and no passions. They can't have passions for it. Taking a look at the points of interest we have now, wetland would be probably difficult to deal with, plus it could flood. A valley? I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually avoid the points of interest here, because none of them seem particularly interesting to me. Increase fish, but again, we suck at animals. So I'm going to head as far south as I can to get as warm as I can. So a flat tundra is our next location. Working our way somewhere to like the boreal forest, perhaps. And before the Mechanoids could catch up with us, we launch. Cause forget about trying to fight them right now. Taking a look at the new map. We've got gold, steel, jade. So that location's pretty good. It's full of, like, debris. It doesn't have a lot of animals that are going to be easy to hunt. Muskoxes have a chance to revenge, and you could get a whole herd revenge. So sourcing chem fuel here might be a little tricky. We'll see. And it seems to me like the best spot somewhere to land would be somewhere around here where we're going to have access to the metals. So I'm going to land on let's see, here. No, I'm going to go a little bit further inland. Here. Current goal is to get the ship ready for the next launch. Okay, we had a minor crash, so it needs repair. Now, here's the thing. Just because the suits... So our comfortable temperature range means that if we wear the suits, we'll be more comfortable outside. Because we are comfortable till about -8, but it's currently -18. I think I'd rather not wear the suit, though. Unless we start getting hypothermia. So in order to get the ship ready for a relaunch, we are going to want to repair it, because it just crashed. We're going to want to refuel the chem tanks, but the chem tanks are already 150 out of 250 full. But being able to make chem fuel is going to be vitally important. Now, in the grav ship scenario, you do start with biofuel refining. So we do have the ability to refine biofuel. I don't intend to really build anything outside this ship. So the idea here is to use the materials available to us, the 400 panels and the 850 steel, in order to expand this ship so that it can handle everything better, essentially. So the first thing I wanted to do is let's expand it. So going into work priorities here, Icy is going to construct Lisk. Interestingly, Lisk, you are going to mine for me. And then Rylus, you are going to do some research. I want to get a research bench up pretty early on so that we can get some research done. Changing some of the priorities. And of course, we have a bunch of packaged meals. We will eventually want, like, more of them, for sure. But these priorities look pretty good, I'd say. So construct, cook, hunt. And then I'll have Rylus also construct, because there won't be any research to be done. So, talking about planning out the ship. I think what I want to do, and I did this last time, is plan for the top of the ship to be as far up as possible, and then to, like, build sections on it. So, to that end, if we know that we eventually want, like, a high-tech research bench, I plan on building somewat boxier than I normally would in terms of designs. So this is a 6x7, and I'll trim the edges off. And then let's put another 6x7 sharing the same walls. And this is going to allow us to, like, compartmentalize. Basically, it's a big compartment ship. And that's how it's going to be built. It's not going to be like a sexy ship. It's going to be very utilitarian to maximize space. So for now, I'm going to hide these. And build on the other side. 6x7. Trimming off the edges. And yeah, I know what it looks like. Then we're going to want more engines so that we have safer launches. And then we're also going to want, you know, the ability to make chem fuel and things like that. Looks like a butterfly? Yeah, exactly. So, speaking of chem fuel, we're going to want chem gens. So I also intend to put chem gens in this setup as well. But let's go ahead and get Lisk trying to mine up this steel here. Because the grav ship substructures is a 4-to-1 ratio of panels to steel. And we had 400 panels, which means we could potentially put 600 or 1,600 steel to use. Also, I think it would be safe to say leaving our doors open at the moment would actually warm up the ship incredibly, because the ship is still, like, cold from space. So I'm going to leave the doors open. It does mean that we might have animals trying to eat our meals, and I'll keep an eye on that. Now, fortunately for me, it looks like the muskoxes are in multiple herds. It's not like one herd of 8, it's a herd of 3 and a herd of 5, which makes it a little bit safer. Although, if you take a look at the weapons that Icy and Rylus have, they're really not going to be able to put large anything down. They're pretty straightforward. They're pretty simple weapons. So, the danger, of course, is that we piss off the herd and then we cannot run them. Alright, our grav ship is the Voidborn ship. So creative. So, in terms of wanting to get productivity back for the next launch, we are going to want probably a chem power generator and then a biofuel refinery. Like, that would be pretty high up on the build list as far as I'm concerned. Oh, they're not symmetrical? Yeah, no, they're not. I can see that. I like how I used the plan and then I just didn't abide by the plan. Like, good job, me. Did an excellent job there. Another thing that I want Lisk to do is you are going to be our farmer. And I designed, of course, these are like imbalanced pawns. I designed him to have incredible learn rate to offset the fact that he absolutely bonkers sucks. I mean, all Starjacks suck at plants and mining. So he's set up in such a way that he can compensate for it with his too smart, fast learning. The others in the group would not have been able to clear those plants near anywhere at the speed that he did. Alright, another thing that we're clearly going to need pretty early on is some beds. Now, the Starjacks, or the Voidborn, our faction, I should say, we do not have high needs for, like, space or privacy, if you will. So it's going to be really easy to make very small bedrooms, and for us to be fine with it. One of the advantages of being a shipborne is you have an indoor preference, and because of your indoor preference, tight quarters are fine. There's nothing bothersome about being in tight quarters. So we'll make use of that that trait for sure. Wow, construction. Yep, you're getting hypothermic. That's another thing we could do is we are, just because we suck at mining and animals and plants, we can still tailor fine. So tailoring up some slightly warmer clothing would be very easy to do. Once we have a little bit more of the structure, I'm going to go hunt muskoxes and make some, like, muskox, you know, dusters or something. Even the helmets aren't particularly insulating compared to, like, tail caps. Now, another research I would like pretty early on is when you use chem power generators, it also means that you are burning a lot of fuel that, if you're not using all the power, gets wasted. So getting battery tech up early would be really pretty sweet. I'm a little worried about trying to set up a wooden simple bench, just because of how difficult it is going to be to source the wood unless we find wooden ruins. But I queued it up anyway, despite the fact that I think it's probably a bad idea. But I'll select some choice pine trees and fell them. And hopefully, I know I have a lot of wood right now, but hopefully we'll continue to have enough wood to keep the ship going. Alright, the inside of the ship now is like the same as ambient temperature. So I'm going to go ahead and shut the doors so that we don't lose meals. And Lisk is managing to cut these pine trees down and subsequently leveling up his plant skill as well, because he has a massively high global learning factor despite no passion. The dude is a knowledge sponge. So the first research I want to get is battery tech. We need a research bench for that, obviously. And then taking a look at the wildlife, it really hasn't changed much, so we'll just keep an eye on it. And when it seems reasonable to try to hunt, we'll go hunting and butcher them for chem fuel material. I'll update... Actually, I'm going to turn off the auto home zones because I don't like what auto home zones does. Obviously, this isn't our home. This is the entire ship plus 5 meters in every direction. And there's no way I want to clean up the random chunk rubble around the ship. That doesn't matter. So, auto home zoning is now off, but auto repair is now on. I think I'm getting close to the amount of steel that I have available to me. And I want to be cautious about not overbuilding to the point where I don't have materials left. There is debris out here that I can break down for steel. And because the Starjacks are so incredibly good constructors and such bad miners, it does make sense to strip ruins for their metal. Ancient dangers included if we could find any. Not that we have good gear yet, but we will eventually be able to go to ancient facilities, ancient dangers, ruins, and the like, and essentially strip them of material. But before we use up all the steel, let's go ahead and get the bench up, so that we do have the ability to research. Now Rylus is researching, and we have Rylus move the stool to the bench, because we don't really need a stool for pilot console. We use once every few days. So the cooldown here is 3.5 days before we can relaunch. And Icy is trying to get the rest of the substructure hull built. And then once that's done, we'll start lining it with grav ship hulls. Now, another thing you might notice is eating without a table. That could and should be resolved pretty early on. And then on top of that, a need for recreation. We shouldn't ignore our recreation need either. So I'm going to have Icy build some wooden furniture for us. And now we can get rid of the slept, you know, without a table. Now, I don't necessarily... I don't yet have the capacity to, for electricity. And I don't have a place where I want to commit building a chemgen. So I'm also going to put a campfire within the ship so that they are sleeping in warmth, which will help with mood. Because I certainly do not need mental breaks at this time. Yeah, ate without a table, and slept in the cold. Mixing up those two. What a weird portmanteau. Alright. We're down to 9 steel, so I feel like I planned, like, exactly the limit at which we would be able to, support. So the idea here for this top structure is we would have the console up front, and then these side sections would be where we put research and fabrication. So again, if you imagine, we have a research bench here with its multi-analyzer. We have fabrication with all of its storage. So that's what those two side sections are, which means this one, at least for now, won't serve a purpose until we actually get fabrication research up. I mean, which will happen, but it'll take a minute. But it does mean that we have a spot for our science. And the inside of the ship is now, I wouldn't say it's toasty, but it's tolerable, which is certainly going to help. Insult spree turns straight into a fight. That's a bad start. Doctors. Rylus will tend to both. And I'm going to tend to both without medicine, because I don't want to waste my medicine. So let's go ahead and change some of the drug policies. I want to carry industrial meds with me. I do not want to use drugs. And the no drug policy is going to be not even for addictions. Remember the vents, good call. And then the apparel policy, I've already changed a little bit. The food policy, I'm going to edit as well to be no raw food, because I don't need anyone getting food poisoning. And then right now, it's going to be herbal meds only, but I know I don't really have herbal meds available to me, so it's more like just tend without medicine. Imagine in a fight trying to bite someone's leg. This is how you get your teeth knocked out. So then I do intend to build these side sections as well. Full knowing that there's jade in the way, but like I can actually incorporate jade. Jade is not an airtight material, if you're wondering. Actually, it says well, this is raw jade. I don't know about mined jade. Mined jade might not be airtight. But we could incorporate jade into our ship, which would be interesting, especially if it was in the internal walls. Rylus. I'm going to have you lay out some more gravlight panels. Then go back to research. least you're not getting in fights with anyone. I appreciate that. And their bed rest settings is not higher than their tasks, so they'll hop out of bed and start working. So now that we no longer have steel left, what I'm planning on doing, so that they don't just keep, like, whiplash going back and forth to the, to break, like, one wall down and then return to the ship, Icy here is going to be restricted to Area 1, which is the ruins that I want to break down, and then when she's done breaking them down, I'll unrestrict her, allowing her to incorporate that steel into the ship. Likewise, I could have Rylus haul it. It's 52 steel. Then Rylus comes back up here. And most of the big ticket ruins I think I've already queued up for destruction. The other ruins seem to be either far away like these or stonework. Oh, there's even silver down here. Cool. Now, if you're wondering, we are, in terms of faction allegiances, we both follow the Astral Ship ideology, the Spacers Emporium and our own, which means we're sort of like natural friends, which will be helpful for a trade partner. You know, orbital trade partner. And this is a pretty fair amount of steel, which is awesome. A visitor from northeastern Kalor. So that's the Civil Union. And now Icy is idle, meaning that she had broken down all the things I had queued, so I'm going to let her free. They have a few items to trade. Levin Losfelt. Not a Starjack. Now, one of the rules, just to remind you all, is that we do intend to be Starjack only. And to that end, it means that it's not like we're going to necessarily abduct other Starjacks, but, like, getting Starjacks is a big deal for us. Because we're crew limited to if we're crew limited to Starjacks only, there are not a lot of them that exist. So it's going to be important that if there are Starjacks to rescue or Starjack enemies to capture, that's exactly what we do. Rylus, Lisk, I don't love waking you up, but let's see what we can trade. Dude shows up with 3 Luciferium. Boy, is that ever the devil's bargain. Here's enough Luciferium to live for 18 days. Good luck. Who would ever buy that? I am low-key tempted to use his goodwill to hunt a muskox right now, if he sticks around, because having another person that can shoot could be useful. I might just do that as soon as oh, no, he's leaving because it's cold. Yeah, it's cold, dude. I don't blame you. Okay, we have an opportunity here. This muskox slept in and is good at dodging. There we go, we shot it. Because once it separates from the herd, it is a little bit less of a risk to piss off all of them. And we pissed off all of them. Okie dokie! Going with the red color. Oh, they're chasing Levin, though. So only this other one here is pissed off. This one was too far to get revenge. Levin, run! Lucky number 11. Run. And this is why I wanted to be careful. Oh, he has a bad back and hypothermia? Oh, boy. And he's downed. Well, I feel bad, but, you know, I don't feel that bad. All right, dumping stockpile. I am going to dump the corpses in here for now. I know it's not airtight, but like eventually maybe it will be. I will also rescue him because faction relation. Why not? So, Rylus, you have pretty good medical. Go rescue. And Icy. Let's, well, yeah. Help the guy out. I'm fully acknowledged I am responsible for his injuries. But I'm trying to do right. Okay. Are you eating the meals already? Yeah, you are. He's no longer capable of walking. Yeah, he can already walk. It's like, do not resist, you're being rescued. I can't even tend to him. What? Okay. You're set to die. Okay, whatever. Because I guess he's... Oh, Icy was already queued it up. Got it. Was wondering about that. I was like, the hell? Alright, before the other muskox eats all the other food. And then, as far as muskoxes go, they do not eat corpses. Nor, and the snow hares that were here left. So I don't need to worry about the muskoxes eating the corpses of the other muskoxes. So at least that's not a concern, which is good. And he's warming up in our little shacky shed. Alright, just because they aren't going to cannibalize their own dead doesn't mean I don't want to haul them in. And then, of course, there's this stuff, too. I think it wouldn't be necessarily a bad idea to get, of course, the medicine, but also, like, the, that's a lot of reinforced barrels worth of money. And then the components aren't bad either. And Lucy sells. Thank you for tuning in to RimWorld Odyssey, the Voidborn, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you would like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, fellow Voidborn.